news today, Pacific Games Audit report delays. Pacific Centre for Language from New Zealand donates books for ongoing learning initiatives in the community. New humanitarian warehouse in Auki, Malaita Province, to strengthen disaster preparedness and response at the provincial level. And in sports, rural community football tournament excitement for Western Province. Hello and welcome. I'm Ursula Nongebatu. Pacific Games Audit report will be ready by the first quarter of 2026. This comes after Prime Minister Jeremiah Manele answered questions raised during a press conference this week.
There has been some progress, but part of the delay is due to the fact that the Games Organizing Committee, who was given the responsibility to expend most of the funds, straight after the Games, the Organizing Committee was it was disbanded. So that leaves the hosting authority, the National Hosting Authority, with the task of trying to retrieve even documents and records that are needed by the Auditor General's office. We know the agency, we know that there is public interest to ensure that this audit work is completed as soon as we can. So the chairman and the members of the hosting authority committed to ensuring that all the audit reports here are completed and of course tabled in cabinet and also.
Earlier this year, in February, leader of the opposition, Matthew Wale, accused the National Hosting Authority of delaying the release of audit documents for the 2023 Pacific Games. These documents include transactions for major procurements related to the event. Wale believes the delay raises further concerns about corruption allegations. He emphasized that millions of taxpayer and donor funds were allocated, and the failure to provide timely audit documentation fuels suspicions. The main obstacle is the NHA's delay in submitting required documents, with auditors stating that proper documentation to support the validity of actions and transactions for certain major procurements has not yet been provided. Prime Minister Jeremiah Manele has reaffirmed the government's commitment to addressing the serious and ongoing threat posed by unexploded ordnance that continues to cause danger and risks in everyday lives. The recent incident at Town Ground last week, with one seriously injured.
The Ministry of Police continues to attach priority to this. Work with the Halo Foundation continues in terms of UXOs, as well as with our other partners. And it's also at the regional level, part of the outcomes of the 54th Forum Communique. We would like to sensitize this threat at the regional level, because it's not only Solomon Islands, there are also other countries in the region that have these World War II legacies in terms of UXOs. So we will be initiating or spearheading a regional program on UXOs as well. And we would like to pursue this during our term now as chair of the forum. On the domestic front, yes, the Ministry of Police and National Security continues to work with our partners on this, including with the Halo Foundation, funded by the US.
The government has recently approved the National UXO Policy, establishing a whole-of-government framework to unify ministries, agencies, and partners in a coordinated response. To further operationalize this policy, the Ministry of Police, National Security, and Correctional Services is setting up a dedicated UXO division to provide central oversight, coordination, and policy guidance. Looking ahead, the government is also developing specific UXO legislation to set legal and safety standards for management, clearance, and commercial activities related to UXO, ensuring accountability and public protection. Pacific Islands Labour Mobility Annual Meeting 2025 is being held this week and attended by more than 300 delegates from across the Pacific and beyond. This week will see conversations and discussions regarding development impacts of labour mobility in Pacific Island countries, sustainable reintegration and recruitment, and improving partnerships. Other areas of discussions are gender issues and opportunities.
Definitely, that came up yesterday at the Pacific Caucus about having that gender equality, not just women, but also youth, people with disability. I think those people are important as well. So yeah, there's definitely a big gender lens on labour mobility and looking for that equality, but also make sure our women, when they travel overseas, that they're safe. Because culturally, us, in the Pacific, men and women going to the same place, should be separate, and so all those things that we grow up with, having that separation, ensuring that if our women travel, that they're safe, they're in a good place. I think that's a big thing for us. Yeah.
The Pacific Labour Mobility Annual Meeting has become more than just an event. It is shaping policy at a national, bilateral, and regional levels. The meeting will end on Thursday this week. Mapesa Language Reading School is a multilingual and professional education service association. Its main mission is to promote local languages, including English and Pidgin, in learning and education for both children and adults, ranging from ages 5 to 42.
The vision is for every language inside the country. Me fala teach him the way where me fala teach him Pidgin. Lo here me fala teach him for read and write. Lo keta teach him grammar blo or the languages here, and actually help him other people for survey for how for read and write lot of local languages here. So that's the dream behind programming. But right now, currently, me fala do no more ROC. Me fala work with them ROC, lau, poyo, with them Pidgin and English. Some fala evidence na is me fala able for send them back more than 300 Pikinini, go back lot of schools. And inside lo this 300 Pikinini, some fala okata never been to school, but okata over age now. So okata come in, me fal help him for read and write. Kasim certain level where otsa read good and osem lo English fit him year level blokata. Then me fala find him spaces for okata back lo primary school. Others where ota no go back lo school, me for help him okata for go into other activities like business. So ota go in for me for training mota lo start your own business, bookkeeping and record keeping, and okata go for the income generating, not that one. So him na lo lo iutsia.
Today, the Chief Executive Officer of the Pacific Centre for Language from New Zealand, together with the New Zealand High Commissioner to Solomon Islands spouse, officially handed over a number of learning books to support the community volunteer Pidgin in Honiara.
I came through Mapesa School, community school, through our Pidgin language training. I met Margaret, who told me about this wonderful community school that she and her volunteers are doing. And the New Zealand police have also been supporting them here because she also provides the language training to them. Then I saw in New Zealand that Elsie Polosovai's mum just finished writing and publishing a book for little Pikininis in New Zealand. So I thought, what better ways was to order some for the school, for Mapesa school, so that the kids can see themselves in the books. So we arranged with Mary Polosovai. She was kind enough to send them over to 10 books for the school to be used. And the kids can actually read and and see themselves in those books and in their own language.
Excited to be here to support the work of our New Zealand High Commission, but also Florence connecting to Mapesa School. And this is quite an incredible eye-opening for me to be able to connect with the community school, but also the children. I think that was really important, not just the us and the language. The language is really important in our culture, but also taking back to the root of our identity. So the little ones, we know that language is faster when we take them through in their early stages of life in learning. And Mapesa has shown that, reconnecting the language back to our young ones is very important. But our work at the centre, we launched a Pidgin language program for the first time in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and that's the whole reason why having this opportunity to connect with Margaret and the team here gives us an opportunity in the development of resources for not just our young people, our children, but also older adults as well in learning the Pidgin language as well. So a huge opportunity for us to collaborate the areas of translation and interpretation. That's a much needed area as part of the mobility, the PALM scheme and RSC space as well for New Zealand and Australia.
The donation aims to strengthen literacy and language development among local learners, supporting ongoing education initiatives within the community. The second Pacific Disaster Risk Management Ministers meeting concluded today, Wednesday, after 2 days of discussions focused on strengthening political leadership for disaster risk management in the Pacific. Jeremy Guo with the update.
Now, the second Disaster Risk Management Ministers meeting has officially wrapped up here in Koro, Palau today after 2 days of high-level discussion focused on strengthening political leadership for disaster risk management across the Pacific. Now, 15 regional leaders and representatives gathered to discuss on how Pacific nations can better coordinate and work together to respond to growing impacts of climate change and natural disasters. Now, the meeting was held under the theme Strengthened Political Leadership for Disaster Risk Management in the Pacific, and emphasized aligning regional efforts within the 2050 Blue Pacific strategy, the regional long-term plan for the resilience and sustainable development. Among the key agendas items were the Pacific Humanitarian Response Coordination Mechanism, with ministers considering endorsement of the draft policy and operating guidelines. Now, updates on the implementing the 2050 Blue Pacific strategy and its connection to the region's disaster management plan. Progress on key initiatives include the Pacific Humanitarian Warehousing Program, Pacific Climate Mobility Framework, water security, and early warning for all projects. Now, ministers also took part in the groundbreaking ceremony for Palau's new humanitarian warehouse, part of the regional's warehousing program established back in 2024. It's the second facility to be built amongst the 15 participating countries. Now, Palau's Vice President Reynolds described the event as a milestone, not only for Palau, but also for the Pacific nations still in the progress of setting up their own warehouse.
For those countries that have allocated the lands for the warehouse in their countries, good on them. I think this is a critical part of the delivery for the disaster risk management solution. And for those countries who have not allocated the land, please do so. This is a great benefit to all. So we must take advantage of it. Thank you.
Meanwhile, discussions are also ongoing for Solomon Islands, where plans for humanitarian warehouse in Malaita Province are currently in the concept and design stage. Now, overall, the 2 days ministerial meeting has been described as a success, setting the tone for stronger regional cooperation and a more resilient Pacific. Now, the next host is yet to be confirmed, but ministers have agreed to follow a troika arrangement, meaning that the next host will become from the Polynesian sub-region. Now, the troika arrangement refers to the past, current and next incoming chair of the Pacific Disaster Risk Management Ministerial Meeting, who will work together to strengthen leadership at both regional and global levels. But as they say, all good things must come to an end. For Tavuli News, I'm Jeremy Guao, here in Palau.
That was Jeremy Guao with an update on the outcomes from the two-day ministerial meeting in Coro, Palau. Solomon Islands will build a new humanitarian warehouse in Auki, Malaita Province to strengthen disaster preparedness and response at the provincial level. The project, supported by the Pacific community and the Australian government, is part of the Pacific Humanitarian Warehousing Program. Lisa Cleary, the Program Director for Infrastructure Specialist for the Pacific Humanitarian Warehousing Project, said that there have already been a number of meetings and discussions regarding the humanitarian warehouse in Malaita Province, which is currently in its concept and design stage.
The first sort of phase of the program. So by 30th of June 27, we would hope to certainly be very well on the way with the construction of a warehouse for Auki. As I mentioned, there's a lot of work that goes into all of the the land preparation, doing the hazard assessments, land surveys, geotechnicals, etc. And then, of course, you've got to procure and contract, and then you've got to do all of those things before you can ever get to the actual construction stage. The construction itself can only take anywhere between 3 and 6 months, really. So in many ways, that's the shortest part of the whole project.
Once completed, the facility will enhance the country's capacity to store and distribute emergency supplies quickly during natural disasters.
Under this project, so the Pacific Humanitarian Warehousing Program, it's one infrastructure project per country. We have 15 countries that we're working with, so everyone gets one infrastructure project. It would either be a new construction, it could be funding the commercial lease of an existing building and making it a little bit fit for purpose, or it could be a renovation of an existing building. So it may not surprise you to know that all 15 countries so far have opted for a new construction, which means they've got to go out and find the land, find a suitable site for us to construct a warehouse.
Director of Honiara City Council Law Enforcement, Robert Madeo, clarifies the reason behind closing down of the clothes market at Point Cruz. Women vendors protested to Honiara City Council yesterday after the ordeal. Madeo told Tavuli News that based on legal advice from the council, administration authorities were given directives to stop all business activities within the Point Cruz cloth market area, as it is classified as illegal and is breached Honiara City Council business regulation without license to run private businesses within Honiara City.
City Council no got any issue with him, the owner of that fella land parcel, except that him no comply with him the market ordinance, where him should seek him approval first before him survey operating such market within private land. I think this message must be clear. You must obtain him approval from the council, the authority, then you survey. Go ahead and do a market within your private land. So that is why the City Council have taken this course of action.
Women vendors marched in protest to HCC yesterday to demand answers after HCC demolished the clothing market at Point Cruz. Most vendors are women who sell clothing items on a daily basis in the area.
If you got a ready venue for me fala fogo do marketing lo there for me pasave Games Audit and otasut for do mo sem lo mi fala, but if ot save ot no ready any place for what do mo sem for me lo mi fala hem no straight hem bara no straight and Lo time you drop from bus lo opposite big market ya. Or people lo market for street. Why not or just go and arrest him or kita or hold him or kita?
Mi fala like him too much for town council for finding space for mi fala. Hem no ma consent lo mi fala and consent lo mi datana mi para like him. Because lo weana by me sabe te kema little bit income o same where mi fala ota woman where mi fala doing marketing o same lo here.
Most of every women where mi fa market lo here mi fala no garem job. Only one mi fa sa any money lo hem no ma is market lo mi fala well lo here.
Him really affecting me too, like every day what me doing daily. This is my daily work, yeah. Have to come every morning, put him up small market below me, and this is how me get them income for family below me, for support him na, or children below me, for put him food lo table. So him bara really affecting me.
Him no good. Time ota dream osem ota come him through him ota come if him say him right lot of come dream osem, but ota should come in a way that osem come where mi fal ota woman no more lo here ya. Ota come or ota rasi mi fal osem or dream ota kind things osem or should easy way ti mi fala no more.
Every women mi fala fright, mi fala shock, some fala women where ota garem osem lelebet trauma lo. One MM happened yesterday.
Pangkasal him not noticing me fala. Like if him noticing me about 3 months or same, I think before otamami by satisfied.
But mi fala like normal for otatang council for look save lo mi fala ota women where mi fala market lo here.
Because me no garem place where mi sa do any market mo unless or the authorities or kata find him any space somewhere more for relocating me follow him, then no there by me save start off back with him what na me normally doing.
Volunteerism may happen in many forms. It may be volunteering in your community, in church, or volunteering in school. Some describe it as fulfilling and rewarding. We meet Alison Wishart, who has been volunteering for the past 6 months at the National Art Gallery and shares her story with us.
Meet Alison Wishart, a volunteer serving at the National Art Gallery for 6 months. But Alison was born in Solomon Islands in 1971 when her parents were once volunteers in the Western Province more than 50 years ago.
Yes, my name is Alison Wishart. I'm an Australian volunteer from Sydney, and I've been working at the National Art Gallery in Solomon Islands, Honiara, for the past 6 months.
Her parents, John and Ruth, lived and volunteered in Solomon Islands in 1970 to 1972 and lived in Munda.
I'm Ruth Wishart, but my Solomon Island friends usually call me Helen. I worked at Munda from 1970 to 1972, and I worked part-time in the Helena Goldie Hospital.
My name is John Wishart. I am married to Ruth, or Helen as I knew her first, and I worked in the office for the United Church at Kakangalo at Munda.
Today, a volunteer just like her parents, Alison loves the work she does and always keeps in touch with her family.
We used to speak to Alison on WhatsApp at once or twice a week, so we had as many questions to ask her. And we just I loved catching up about life in Honiara, where she'd been, people she'd met, paintings we'd seen, things that were happening in the gallery. We really looked forward to our twice a week phone calls. And Alison and I had a WhatsApp, so we exchanged a fair bit of information, and I shared it with my friends. So it's been great. We've had a good 6 months too.
But coming to Solomon Islands and volunteering was more than that. It was truly special for Alison. When she finally finishes her 6 months, Alison invites her parents and makes the return to Munda, Western Province, a place where they once called home.
My parents were both working in Kakengalo, which is where Helena Goldie Hospital is based, just near Munda in the Western Province of Solomon Islands. And they were based there from 1970 to 1972. And I was born there in 1971. I lived there for the first 18 months of my life, and I've really enjoyed coming back to Solomon Islands. I feel like I've reclaimed my identity. And it's been wonderful to come back with them.
And we always wanted to take Alison back to where she was born and show her the place. And I think the most outstanding thing was we had to hunt very hard to find her house, Mary. Well, I think you might call it something else. And it took a long time, but we finally found her village with the help of a taxi driver and one tox. And she ran out and put her arms around Alice and said, "My daughter has come back." Very emotional. And I think that's just one of the extra things that volunteers get, that they don't realise that it's a two-way thing. And we were delighted. And it's made such a wonderful time for us to come back. And now we can tell others, go and become a volunteer. It's worth it.
After more than 50 years, a lot has changed, but close contacts, relationships and memories will last forever.
It's really great to see some roads and buses in the village. So I see them as really positive.
I was really astounded by how much we were received. I get emotional. It was like going back home. And I think we leave something behind. We leave. And we also, as volunteers, although we give what we have, we get back a lot more from being with local people.
Volunteering feels like giving, but it is also in the receiving.
Been a very fulfilling 6 months. Life goes slowly sometimes, but these 6 months have gone very fast because it's been a really positive learning experience for me.
Lisa Osifello, Tavuli News.
And now to regional news. Fiji's government is preparing to extend a first home ownership initiative to support families who have been evicted from informal settlements. The government said the pilot will target families from Vaidogo, Nambua Muslim League and Kilikali settlements with a combined household income of up to 30,000 Fijian dollars. The program will be jointly managed by the Ministry of Housing and the Housing Authority to ensure transparent assessment and allocation of social housing lots. Once approved by Cabinet, it will be brought in phases. Vanuatu's Toba province has launched its first X-ray service powered by solar energy. The Vanuatu Daily Post reported X-rays are now available at Guatve's hospital. The upgrade is part of an Australian project and also supported by the National Green Energy Fund and Respond Global. Minister of Health, John Getu, said with the province's first X-ray machine and reliable solar power at Guatve's Hospital and Bemisa's Health Centre, clinicians can diagnose and treat patients faster and closer to home. Welcome back in sports. The West New Georgia Vona Vona tournament is set to kick off this month from the 24th of November to the 8th of December. A total of 16 teams from within the constituency will compete in this year's competition.
We look forward for organizing this tournament good and by complete, yeah. I mean, by organizing good for the teams who have participate. We got 16 for the teams now where by participate for this tournament. For the teams, yeah, 16 for the teams, yeah, inside the constituency of West New Jersey, Vona naman. West New Jersey, Vona, hem start from Nusa Rovena, kasi hem lo Rarumana. West New Jersey, Vona constituency. This tournament, hem sponsored by Honorable Parliament Member, fellow West New Jersey, Vona, Honorable George Temahua. Hem sponsor this tournament with him $100,000 cash prize, yeah. Sponsor the tournament.
With prize money set at $40,000 for first place, $30,000 for second, $20,000 for third, and $10,000 for fourth place. Teams are now stepping up their preparations ahead of what promises to be an exciting and spirited competition for the islands. That also wraps up our Tavuli News Bulletin for today. If you have any stories or scoop you wish to share with us, please send us an email, newsdesk@tavulinews.com.sb. I'm Ursula Nongebatu. Thanks for joining.